Newcomers of Star Rail will install the game, look at the limited banner only to say, wait a minute, isn't that the exact same guy I have in my party without the horns? Well, yes. And no, it's complicated, alright? Imbibitor Lunae Don Heng, or IL Don Heng, is the 5-star imaginary destruction counterpart of his 4-star Wind Hunt path iteration. Counterpart indeed, because instead of being a single target DPS, IL Don Heng is a strong hypercarry that decimates imaginary weakness enemies. When it comes to relics, there are really only 2 to choose from: the Wastelander of Banditry Desert and Musketeer of Wild Wheat. The former provides a simple 10% imaginary damage buff, but requires a bit of work to activate its 4-piece effect. Don Heng can receive a 10% increase to his crit rate, but only if he attacks a debuffed enemy. These debuffs include defense reduction from Pella's ultimate, DOTs like Shock or Wind Shear, and crowd control debuffs like Frozen. Additionally, if the enemy is imprisoned, Don Heng also receives a 20% crit damage bonus. Musketeer of Wild Wheat is much simpler and less situational. By getting its full set, Don Heng obtains an attack, speed, and basic attack damage buff. You can also choose to have a combination of these 2 sets, equipping Don Heng with a permanent attack and imaginary damage buff. Moving on to Planar Ornaments, Rutilant Arena is his best set, although it requires at least 70% crit rate for it to work, and the buff to skill damage is negligible. The 20% buff to his basic attack damage is worth it. If managing skill points is not your thing, consider equipping him with the sprightly Von Whack Planar Ornament to get his ultimate back much faster. Keep in mind though, Tingyun can resolve his energy problems. As a DPS character, the stats IL Don Heng looks for on his pieces include crit rate on the body, attack percent on the feet, imaginary damage bonus on the planar sphere, and attack percent on the link rope. If you're running sprightly Von Whack, energy regeneration rate works as well. Also aim to have as much crit damage, crit rate, speed, and attack in their substats. IL Don Heng's best light cone is his 5-star signature, Brighter Than the Sun, granting him extra crit rate, attack, and energy regeneration rate by simply using his basic attacks. But if you spent all of your jades getting the guy on the card, there is a great free option, and it's even a 5-star. On the Fall of an Aeon can be obtained from the Herta store for 8 Herta bonds, obtained from completing new worlds in the simulated universe and as a point reward. Getting it to Super Imposition 5 will require a lot of grinding, since you'll need 2 Herta bonds to superimpose it just once. As for its effects, the light cone buffs Don Heng's damage by also simply attacking, with an added damage boost whenever he breaks an enemy's weakness. If you're still grinding for the previous light cone, the mole's welcome you is decent, if you can forgive how vague it is. It reads as though you can get an infinite number of these mischievous stacks, but you can't. You can only have a maximum of 3, and each of those stacks is designated to a basic attack, skill, or ultimate. You must use each to deal damage once in order to get those stacks. In the case of IL Don Heng, however, whose skill does no damage, it means he can only get 2 stacks. He cannot use a basic attack or ultimate twice to get that last stack. A Secret Vow is good for the permanent base damage increase, which can be increased to a max of 40% at Super Imposition 5. You can get an additional 40% increase if the enemy's health is equal to or higher than Don Heng's, but IL Don Heng can't reduce his health to maintain that passive. If you have none of these previous options, Collapsing Sky is a 3-star light cone that buffs his basic attack damage. When using IL Don Heng, he'll be stealing most of your party's skill points to use his enhanced basic attacks, which come in 3 forms. Using 1 deals Transcendence, a 3-hit combo. Using 2 deals Divine Spear, a 5-hit combo that can hit adjacent enemies, and using 3 deals Fulgurant Leap, a 7-hit combo that functions the same as Divine Spear but deals major damage. His talent, Righteous Heart, buffs damage as he attacks an enemy, which lasts until the end of the respective attack. You'll be using Divine Spear and Fulgurant Leap the most, since IL Dan Heng gains increased crit damage for every hit after the 4th one. His ultimate not only deals good damage, but essentially gives him 2 free skill points, called Squama Synchro Sancta. These are used first before skill points, allowing you to use either Divine Spear or Fulgurant Spear after. Focus on leveling his basic attack first, then focus on his talent and skill in any order. The ultimate can be upgraded last to get a little boost in damage. Don't forget to get all of his bonus traces, which range from regenerating 15 energy at the start of battle, increase his chance of resisting crowd control debuffs by 35%, and buff his crit damage when attacking targets weak to imaginary. His side nodes also increase his crit rate and provide an imaginary damage bonus. Imbibitor Lunae performs his role as a hypercarry exceptionally well, able to wipe out imaginary weakness enemies with ease with relatively simple builds to boot. Your skill point management game must be on point though, because nothing's more sad than having him perform an unenhanced basic attack. For more gaming guides and news for either Star Rail or more, check out thegamer.com. I've been Yasuo Ho, and thanks for watching.